just combine them. Oh, sure.
Pretty fast to him with that.
Oh, this has a big chunk of stuff in it. So
It could be, but mostly it has to do with the way the structure over it.
it's gonna dry.
But anyway, okay, I'll see what I can make.
Well, that composting ton could go to the chute here.
Next year. And those officers are our president, vice president, and our combined treasury secretary.
That feels good. Sunset.
I don't even think they notice it, but they do. Right?
Probably both.
Yeah.
Wow.
Feel good.
And this is good for your nervous systems. You know, you guys, you remember, right? If you're stressed out, if you're anxious, you need more, nervous system stabilization, right?
Thank you.
Strategizing, whether it's transportation or it's science education, supporting scientists. But we have to start rallying around each other in a space outside of the government, because the government right now doesn't allow. Like, you go to a public comment, what is it, 2 minutes? And do they even acknowledge you? They don't even acknowledge you. They're like, all right, next. Yeah. So we need to meet each other in more human spaces, heart-centered spaces, and then bring that heart-centeredness into the government space.
The school district still owns the dam. Don't you know that story? Then they fob it off on you like East Bay Parks did or something?
I don't know.
Because that dam has been there forever, but what happens when it fails? When it fails, here's the thing, it's silted in behind it. So there's no longer a reservoir here. It's just this kind of area full of silt, and you can see over the decades it's filled up with mostly willow trees. Willow trees, of course, being very common riparian trees that grow along rivers, streams, creeks, and
I saw watercress too.
There, if you might see some.
Hey Crockett, how you doing? Are you ready to rock it in Crockett? What's going on, community? How are you? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back at Rocket Crockett, and on this show we're going to be diving into some cool stuff. We might be talking about food systems and farming. We might be having somebody might be dropping by that might help us understand some of these things even better. And even beyond that, we're going to be able to dive into some cool stuff in terms of what's happening around Crockett, in Crockett. What are some of the things that are happening around Crockett? You might see some of that stuff today in this show. And even beyond that, I think it's important for us to learn about the cool stuff that's happening in our community. Got to see a little bit about Crockett and the Community Services District meeting. If you look over here, you can see that here we go. This is your community and all the different budget, the money, the bills, the receipts of what's being paid, the different meetings. Here you go, right here, Crockett Community Services District. So make sure you go to your city hall, your Community Services District meetings, learn about what's happening, say something, do something, be something. And this is where we can learn about what's happening. So, if you ever want to learn where the money's going in the community, what's happening, what's not happening, this is where it's at.
This is staff from the board. All right. They also covered some other issues. For a while they were working on recycling the water, which I talked to Mark. I think there's some interest in looking at that again.
I will keep it on there and talk to Mark and Scott and
it's fairly active, I guess, is what I'm trying to get.
All right.
To meditate, you need to focus and you need to breathe. Okay? Hello. 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 Bye. Hello. Bye. Hello.
Anything beyond the line is just completely unclaimed land. Like anyone can go there and decide to improve it. And then on the question,
they can go on our 30-foot easement or whatever it is that's from the fence out.
Yeah, Heidi. What's going on here?
We are having a trasher hunt.
A trasher hunt. Did you guys find anything? Any gold? Any old historical?
We found 2 little trunks that then gave the winner a free T-shirt.
What? Yeah. Did you find anything? Any treasure?
We found a couch cushion and Jacob.
A gross couch.
A bunch, yeah.
There's
black widows in it.
Oh my God! They're sleeping in it. Don't want to sleep in that bed. That's for sure.
No, I found it. Yeah.
Did you guys find any money in the mattress?
No.
Aw.
We're hoping to find narcotics.
Narcotics would have been funny.
Yeah, so spread your organization
people of Newtown, North Dakota, Fort Worth, and my ancestors want to thank you for acknowledging us.
Whoa, it's Chris in the house.
Indy.
Whoa, Chris, what's going on, man? I did not expect you to come in here.
Well,
what?
I'm here.
You making a visit at Crockett?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So what I'm excited. Like, I'm excited for you to be here. But like, why do you care so much about Crockett? Like, what is so special about Crockett that brings you to this place and makes you feel like it's home?
Well, I've been working in Crockett for a minute now, and we've done environmental education programs. We've done work days. We're trying to develop a green space down by the waterfront, and then working with Creek and Carquinez Regional Environmental Education Center. It's a place that is near and dear to my heart, and trying to support community.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about what you guys do and have done is you guys have both sourced from the community how they envision the future of Crockett, and everything from the water up to the top of the mountain or to up to the hill, whatever you want to call it, right? But I feel also you guys have synthesized that, right? Like, you guys have listened to everybody. You've done your own environmental work, your agriculture, all the different aspects, watershed work, and then you guys have actually presented. I literally have a presentation that has like, this is the future of what could be possible. Is that right?
Yeah, I try to put together a vision for what the shoreline could look like, and reimagining sort of green spaces, and trying to provide places where people can gather and socialize and sort of have a feeling of community.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, because sometimes people get caught up in like, both, this is always how it always is. That thing where people go, this is the way it is, and then what if the way it is actually toxic and harmful and just not sustainable?
Right. No, I mean, folks trying to, and what you're saying, we want folks to sort of envision what the future could look like and what folks want their communities to look like, and then combine that with the science and that foundation, and then what sort of is possible, and how to sort of combine those two together into this future vision.
So that being said, let's just pop some different examples. And I'm a big fan of civic imagination, right? So it's like, all right, cool, let's look at the example, then what is the path to get there, right? And so what are some things in the community that you guys have synthesized, like for example, the shoreline or anywhere else, where can there be abundance for the community? Like, what are you guys envisioning? What's the vision?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of try to look at what the needs of the community are. And the best programs and the best projects really address the need, and then come up with a possible solution and then apply that. So one of the things, if you've ever been to the Crockett shoreline and down sort of by Creek in that area, the old Nantucket, I think folks remember that space. And if folks go down there, they know that it floods awfully all the time.
It's like a pool, dude. It's literally a pool.
It's kind of dangerous to like drive your car because you don't know how deep it is. But so that's an issue. Yeah. And so trying to create a project that has multiple benefits. So hopefully we're looking at, sort of bioswales and retention basins that help the water flow into. And then you pick the right suite of plants, native plants that help take up the pollutants. And then so that water at the end comes out being cleaner than when it started. Whoa. So you alleviate the flooding of that parking lot or whatever that is. And then the waste or the stormwater ends up being cleaner at the end.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think also what's forgotten there is doing all of that work. I mean, this is why I'm a big fan of actually getting the community to be involved in putting those things in and actually planting the plants and doing the work, you know, as well. Because I think there's an aspect of therapy there, like ecotherapy, of like people feeling connection to place, feeling connection to the future of the land, even if it's beyond their own lives, but it's like even in their life for their children, right? That like, hey, you're making the community safer and better, and you're literally planting seeds, but like also you're bringing some sort of like harmony to your community by being involved, right? Like, have you noticed that?
Yeah, you know, there's sort of, you know, I'll argue that a lot of our environmental ills are sort of through this disconnect that we have as modern folks to the land, to the water, and sort of missing that connection. And folks don't realize how they're actually connected to our watersheds and the environments, and how their daily choices can make and affect those, the health of our watersheds. So having these events, having people get a little bit dirty and a little bit wet helps to reconnect us to the planet.
I mean, that's why I'm excited, because I feel you guys have done a lot of the really important research and like the back end stuff of like, hey, what makes sense? What does the community want? And then what also makes sense environmentally, scientifically, biologically, all these different things. Now it's like people getting educated about it, and also like us mobilizing towards it more and more, right? Whether that's financially mobilizing, just people mobilizing, right? And so I'm excited about doing like things like, I don't know if this might be the first time I'm sharing with you, but I'm hosting a Regenerate the Bay Fest at Creek. To kick off San Francisco Climate Week.
Oh, great.
So we're going to be inviting a lot of people from San Francisco Climate Week. We're going to be in, a lot of people don't even know in the Bay Area that there's Crockett. It's funny when I invite people from the Bay, they're like, what is this place? This place is awesome, right? So Regenerate the Bay Fest, the intention is to invite folks like RCD and others to kind of share with the community what is the vision, but to make it also like a festival. A celebration, like with the Choose Your Adventure. Like if you want to do the Bay regeneration, we're gonna have some Bay regenerative stuff. If you want to do some like native plant regeneration, you could do that. But also feeding each other and sharing culture and community and music and art, I think is really critical. And our different perspectives. So honor our perspectives, right?
Yeah, great. No, and that's part of the reason why I like working in Crockett and you know, working with folks such as yourselves. And as an environmental organization, you know, for a long time, the sector has just sort of been siloed in terms of, okay, we do restoration projects, we put plants in the ground, native plants, and, you know, we help with water issues and things like that. But, you know, for a long time, my sector always talks about how healthy watersheds lead to healthier communities, right? But then we also, when we think about health, in that context, we're oftentimes just thinking about our physical health. But in terms of health, we're also talking about mental health, and we're talking about spiritual health. So those are like the components, and it's a way for us to do the environmental work, but also how that syncs up with social aspects and with people, and making sure that the projects we're doing are in the health of the environment, but also in the health of people. So we really appreciate sort of, you know, working with folks who bring that perspective and able to create programs that have, you know, a fuller outlook to them. And for us to, because we know the work expands and has a nexus with the social pieces. So how can we create these programs that actually manifest and make those happen?
Totally, and I love that you said that. It's also like it is about like, you know, shaking hands with different people in the community for us to get somewhere. Like we actually have to hold each other's hand. Eventually, you're all holding hands, and hopefully it's a circle. And so there's no top or bottom. We're actually all just a part of, you know, locking hands in a circle. And we don't have to feel like, oh, somebody's more important than the other person, or there's like, you know, like that whole thing. It's like so weird, you know. We can't get anywhere with that.
No, agreed. Yeah, and you know. The thing I always tell my staff is that the RCD, the one thing we really only do is relationship building. So all the work we do is through voluntary partnerships and working with people and building trust, you know, and coming on and meeting with you and talking with you. And, you know, we've had meetings elsewhere, and but trying to, you know, continue partnerships, reaching out to more and more people, and trying to get more people in that circle.
Awesome. And that kind of comes to like a little bit of like the dance we've been doing now, right? Because I feel one of the things I can't help but recognize, been working in food systems now for like, the past like 7 years, like whether it was Hawaii or LA or New York, always been in food system stuff, right? I can't help it because I come from a family of farmers. So for me, it's like, I'm always thinking, right? Even disaster resilience, like, wait, what's the food situation? Like, do we have enough food for a month, for a year? Like, are we prepared? For the community, for the children. I can't help it. It's like automatic thinking, right? And so for me, I look around at Crockett and I'm like, dang, we don't have local food resilience. We don't have a supermarket, like a actual legit supermarket. We don't have necessarily healthy local food access. Yet we do have a lot of nature. We do have a lot of agricultural zoning. We got a lot of farms nearby, right? Literally across the bridge, there's tons of farms. So yeah, what's going on? Like, I'm curious, you've been doing this work, because RCD is not just also about environment, isn't it about agriculture?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, so the RCD is Contra Costa is actually one of the oldest RCDs in the state. It's almost 85 years now.
What?
But RCDs really were established to work with farmers and ranchers. So a long history of trying to do conservation on the ground with folks. And then so food and food systems are really central to what we've been working on. And yeah, thinking about Crockett and thinking about nearby Rodeo. And these places are food deserts. When I go through there, there's no grocery stores. Like, you have to go to a separate spot in the county, the nearby city, to go to the grocery store. And so while we're trying to, build awareness and educate young people on the importance of food and the importance of, organic food and things like that, but then they're not able to get it. So there's a disconnect there, and something that, we'd like to continue to work on.
Yeah, and it's funny because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a significant amount of land in and around Crockett, Port Costa, that is agriculturally zoned? Isn't there a lot? It feels like there's a lot of space.
Well, there's definitely a rise in urban farming in Contra Costa County.
Well, look I got an urban farming thing from here, pull that up. Let's show the audience, here, show them over here. Look, urban agriculture program.
From the USDA, so nice.
Right?
Yeah, historically our sort of row crops and the larger farms are in East Contra Costa. But there are urban farms popping up all over, and oftentimes there are urban farms that we don't even know about. So one of the pieces that we're trying to figure out is, when these new farms pop up, we want to go and meet them, talk to them, talk about what some of their needs are, see how we could support them. But oftentimes we'll see it on their website and like, oh, really? Somebody's doing that in Contra Costa? But it'd be nice if people were to reach out to us, but understood, we'll keep an eye out for folks.
Yeah, and that's also why I feel like a food systems journey with the different groups in the community, maybe one of the things that we do is both kind of support the urban farms that are forming, right, in and around our community, but also maybe inspire folks with maybe an acre, a few acres, and they're not even using it in the community, right? And Crockett especially, right? There's I walk around all the time everywhere, and I'm like, dang, people have amazing properties. They could be feeding the whole neighborhood actually with their property, but it's not being utilized.
Yeah, on the same sort of note there, it's sort of the farming industry. And one of our goals is to make sure that we try and support farmers to keep them farming. Obviously, food is very important to our lives, but farming is a difficult business here. And so one of the pieces that we're really trying to figure out is how do we provide land access to new farmers, to folks that are just starting out, to folks that want to give it a try, especially here in the Bay Area and Contra Costa, where land is very expensive. But how do we, provide opportunities for folks who do want to get into it? And land access is one of the first and big hurdles.
Dude, that's my biggest thing. Literally, I have to the only way that I can go and farm. It's funny because I come from a family of farmers in India who, through neoliberalism and through all kinds of different genocides that were happening in India, had to leave India and leave their farms, and I have no access to farms. I have to go out and work on somebody else's farm.
Sure.
And I can't there's even no capital access to be like, can I go to a bank and get a loan? It wouldn't even be possible. Even though we need farms, and we also need to bioremediate land too. It's like you said, farming is not just about the food. It's also about like biodiversity. It's also about watershed management. Like a farm could do multiple things, not just even building construction. You could grow hemp, or you can do clay, adobe housing, stray and adobe house. I mean, there's so many things you could do with the farm, and not just food, right?
Right. Yeah, and there's so much opportunity if we're talking about agriculture here in Contra Costa in terms of the land proportion to other places. But that's why we work with farmers and ranchers, is because the opportunities on their amount of land is so large. And so we just sort of have to continue to meet and relationship building and build trust. And, we find the folks who are understanding of why these projects and conservation are important. So yeah, we'll keep working at it.
Yeah, I love that. I think education is always important for all. We can always be learning. And the best farmers I know, the best ecological stewards I know, they're always learning, because there's always new things to grow. And even like yesterday, I went to a California farm conference gathering up in Sebastopol, and there was an integrated pest management thing. And it was so cool to learn from some of these folks working in these different spaces who are doing research too, noticing that actually rather than going and killing something with like a pesticide or like a, what do they kill rodents with, like the poison, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, let's bring in more of the predatory birds and create more space for them. I'm like, yeah, like that's the way to go, is us understanding systems and then trying things that we know also nature does itself well. How do we support that? And how do we educate community around that, especially farmers and eco stewards?
Yeah, I mean, IPM is a big thing these days. And yeah, we have our own IPM practices that we do here at the RCD. And yeah, it's sort of trying to figure out how we, can get nature to help nature a little bit.
I feel people would listen to you a lot more, Chris, if you had like a hawk that was like, you had a IPM hawk, that would just go and grab a rodent, just a hawk on your shoulder.
I like that.
The farmers would definitely listen. Like if you said anything, like you should try this, they'll with the hawk.
I like that.
All right, something might be thinking about there.
That's a conversation starter at least.
Definitely. So curiously, one of the things I love to do on this show, and the intention for this Rocket Crockett, is for us to also plant the seeds into what's possible for the future of Crockett and nearby areas. So what is your protopian vision? What are you imagining for the future of this, bioregion? I feel like we are a bioregion, right? Especially that Crockett, Port Costa, Rodeo area.
Sure.
What do you envision for it to thrive? Like what do you see happening based on your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, something like that always top of mind for me is climate change. And my background is actually a little bit more in shoreline restoration. So I'm always sort of thinking about sea level rise and how communities on the shore are going to be affected, and how the flooding is going to affect people on a parcel level. But I always remind folks that, there's maps out there that you can see sort of where the water will be and where it's modeled to be. But those maps are, only maps that show what would happen if we don't do anything.
That's good to know. So it's a deficit framing,
right?
Not asset framing. So it's like, was it fixed mindset, not growth mindset? Okay.
So, but we're trying to do things and make projects and work with partners to be able to implement and construct sea level rise measures to help with that.
Okay, but I'm going to pin you on that one too, because what I've noticed in doing eco stewardship, like actually proactive ecological stewardship, is actually it's phenomenological. Like if a bunch of people actually do the work to, like, let's say, get rid of an invasive plant species or put in mandrakes or whatever, it's like once you start doing that and the ecosystem starts to adapt and adjust to that new configuration, things move fast. Like it's not like predictable actually. Because it's like you bring in keystone species, and then other keystone species awaken, and then the ecosystem. I literally watched it. Like whoa, like fish salmon spawning just because we removed an invasive plant. Like we didn't do anything else, and then the fish started spawning, and then you had salmon. It's like we didn't have to do. We just need to get people to do that one activity, and the thing is phenomenal, right?
No, I mean, we always talk about sort of these large restoration projects and what that could look like, but what Mother Nature really needs is just a little bit of a helping hand. And Mother Nature, Mother Earth will take care of it.
I love that, dude. Spoken like a powerful Aquarian. And then, last but not least, is there anything you want to invite the Crockett community, the Crockett community? What is your call to action for them out there? And not just Crockett. I feel this goes out to everybody in Contra Costa, right, as well. What's from your perspective and your vantage point? What would you like to ask folks and call them into and call them towards?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
They're right there.
Oh, great. No, I mean, there's lots of things, but I really just want folks to get engaged. And it means you could come out to an event that the RCD has, you can come out to an event that Indy has. There's so many nonprofits doing such nice work here in Contra Costa. There's definitely one that you're interested in, just have to do a little bit of research. But yeah, support and engage with the work, build some awareness, educate yourself, and support the folks who are doing the work out there, especially during these times of uncertainty. Folks need sort of that support to keep going.
I love that. I think that was really important. And even when you say go to the stuff Indy is going to, I can't imagine doing any event now because everything I do has to be ecological as well as mental and spiritual and emotional, right? But I can't help but think about how can we continue to partner, collaborate? What are projects that RCD needs to get done, right? The ecological projects or farming projects around in town, and how can we supercharge them and amplify them based on what we are good at?
Yeah. No, I mean, if we're talking specifically about Crockett, trying to address some of these food desert issues, we've been throwing around some ideas of thinking about, what could a sort of farm stop idea look like in Crockett? Could that support some of the urban farmers from nearby areas to be able to supply some of their produce to then be sold to create value added for these farms, but then also have a place where young people and older folks are able to come and get fresh food, healthy food.
Food as medicine?
Yes, food as medicine.
Maybe prescriptions, from
nice.
their, right?
But then also, trying to broaden it out from that and think more, okay, this is sounding more like a community hub. This is a place where people can come and gather. Could we also combine some of the wellness and the spiritual pieces as sort of a one-stop shop where folks get nourished with the food, but also nourished mentally and physically? So yeah, that's another idea of sort of an RCD going a little bit beyond what it has typically done, but still working with folks in community.
I love that. I can't help but you say community hub, and I can't help also recognize that community hub is also a resilience hub, right? And we have to think about these things in terms of resilience, because now we are in this constant cycle of disaster after disaster after disaster, and then we're in a consistent disaster too, because there's a disaster of just incompetence happening just generally speaking, right? And so and I think by creating a resilience hub, we're also creating that feeling that people can rely on each other and rely that feeling that I'm safe, I'm okay,
nice,
And so I'm really grateful that you guys are open to envisioning that too. And I also wonder too, from the context, so RCD is a resource conservation district, right? How do folks connect with you guys other than going to events and stuff like that? Is there any other channels where they can learn what's happening? What are the different ways people can connect?
Yeah, I mean, naturally through our website and through social media. So follow us on there and check out the website.
CCRCD on Instagram.
Yes.
Yep.
And .org on the website. But yeah, events, the big main ones that will always be doing something, and throughout the county, coming up is Earth Day, which is now Earth Week, which is now Earth Month. So that's a big time for us. There'll always be events then, and then in September, there's Coastal Cleanup Day, which is another thing that we always have events throughout the county.
Cool. Oh my God, you guys are doing an Earth Week? You gotta tune me into this. So wait, is that April 19th, within that week?
Uh-huh.
Dude, let's team up. Come, let's
Yeah, we have a few things going on.
make some happen. I'll get all the Climate Week people. Last year we went to Climate Week and we did the only event that was outside. Everybody did their events indoors during a Climate Week, and it was like, come on, guys, you can't be solving the climate when you're outside, you know?
Well, I mean, if we go back to sort of our species, I will argue that our species has become indoor species at this point. More folks on their screens, more folks on the computer, on the laptop, on TV, and folks aren't spending enough time outdoors and in the sun and in the grass and being grounded and things like that. So that's part of our work too, is trying to increase access. You know, we've done educational programs in Crockett, and for students who live very close to the shoreline, you'd be surprised, or maybe not, a large majority of the students have never even been to the shoreline, like when I bring students out. So,
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know adults who haven't been to the shoreline. They're like, we didn't know you could even come down here. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's great to do it together. And it's more fun and enjoyable. Thanks, Chris. You feel complete?
Yes, thank you.
You feel good? All right, so let's have you get off, let's have you leave this stage, but let's have you leave it more uniquely. Let's have you grab this thing and give it a shot. Sometimes it's nice to try out a new instrument.
And I have no idea what this instrument is.
All right, so
it's like a UFO to me.
It is a UFO, actually. It might take you off, so be careful. So put it in your lap.
Okay.
And then just tap it.
Anywhere?
Anywhere. Try to see if you can get a beat.
Where is this instrument from?
It was invented about 10 years ago in Germany.
Oh,
yeah.
This is pretty cool. I see the vision with the different sizes.
Aha, so he's playing different notes.
If you are farming pretty much anywhere, you're probably dealing with some type of rodent issues. There's lots of other pests that we could spend time talking about, but we're not going to do that today. We're mostly focusing on rodents. So
raptor projects on farms, looking at the interactions with pest control, with rodenticides, and just how they kind of contribute to biological control in farming systems, to boosting beneficial wildlife on farms and understanding the role birds play in general, because one of the projects is focused on American kestrels and boosting their population. American kestrels are really cool because they eat a variety of things, from rodents to songbirds and larger insects. They're also a declining species. So in terms of conservation, we're also trying to learn how can we best support them on farms in order to help preserve their populations and conserve them as a natural resource and as part of sustainable farming and just as a conservation practice.
What are you doing here? What did you do here?
What I do is I'm managing a garden in Crescent Park on the south side of Richmond, in one of our communities, and we plant a lot of vegetables and make sure that the community has fresh vegetables and have the knowledge around learning how to grow their own stuff in their own backyards.
So having the sovereignty of food and health.
Absolutely. And the knowledge that it's not something that you have to go to the grocery store for.
Right.
You can grow it your own. And when you go to the grocery store, you can save those seeds, so then you can grow your own.
You know what I've been doing lately? We've been building human manure toilets. And we've been teaching people that like how actually easy it is, and how we've been actually showing people after like a year, 2 years, that soil is hella good. And you could put it back in the soil because it's actually it all reprocessed.
It broke down.
It broke down.
Yeah.
But people don't know that our poop is actually super nutritious. It's actually for the soil. But we like waste it out into like the bay, the water.
Now we're trying to drink.
So I also believe, scientifically speaking, like the poop gives information. Our poop gives information to the plants and the herbs and the vegetables to make those minerals and vitamins that we need. So it actually like recognizes humans are low, or the animals are low on this, and then it reciprocates that. But we give like cow poop and like all this other poop, but that's their information. Why don't we give our information to them?
Back to Mother Earth. That's a great question.
This message is brought to you by Contra Costa TV And I'm really grateful for the people who work for the county, public servants who show up in a meaningful way to reflect the community. For example, Contra Costa TV is literally the beacon of citizen journalism that our community, that helps us know what's happening in the community, what are the different things happening with the different meetings from the county and the different cities, and what are the happenings. And also reflecting back to the community the different projects that are happening in the community, whether they're community service projects or they're educational projects or they're public government projects, whatever's going on, CCTV is where it's happening. So I'm really grateful for the CCTV staff, the CCTV project, Contra Costa TV project, which actually allows this space to be available for community members that want to do something around storytelling and narrative storytelling. And in my opinion, right now, we need to reinvent and reimagine citizen journalism, right? And so this is what Crockett's about. So thank you, CCTV, for hosting this space, for allowing me to be bringing all the different magical things that I'm about, but also to really highlight the different ways that we can come together and bring people in celebration and community. And maybe also do some fun, weird stuff too once in a while. That's okay, right? We could be weird and we could still do the right thing, and we can still try our best to care about each other in unique ways and to be imaginative in how we are civically responsible. And then also beyond that, to play music together, to eat food together, and to share art together and build together and all that good stuff. So thank you to CCTV for making this opportunity available. Thank you to the Contra Costa, for the county for making this possible, and for, sometimes we gotta thank the corporations. I mean, eventually we also wanted to start businesses and be businesses. So thank you to business and the business community for giving back to the community in a way that the community can also be able to put value into the arts, put value into the culture, right? Because this is arts, right? And humanities. And so we gotta put money into the humanities and arts. If we wanna have a healthy society, we have to honor the artists, we have to honor the storytellers, and we have to honor also culture and building culture together, and integrating culture and being biodiverse with culture, right? With biology, with our nature and ecology and our farming systems and our food systems and our, water system. You guys know what I'm saying. All the systems, we gotta be a little bit more fun and creative with it.